I'm Adam Moz, and this is Moz Models. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over how to replace a VAR mix in 1.4 with a FreeMix in 1.5. The VAR mix got seriously upgraded in 1.5, becoming the new VAR functionality with the old mixer functionality going away. But now you can call a VAR from anywhere without having to waste a channel on it, and without being limited to the limitations of channels. The flip side here is VARs are kind of overkill if you just want to send a few arbitrary values to a channel. For example, if you're controlling the flight mode on a flight controller or the stabilization mode on a stabilized receiver, you probably just want to send 3 or 5 arbitrary values to a channel. The good news is that functionality is still in Ethos because the FreeMix also got a major upgrade in 1.5, and now it can do that, and you don't need a VAR mix if you just want to send a few arbitrary values to a channel. VAR mix is useful when you want that to be adjustable, when you want to call it in weights and all sorts of various other spots through the OS. But if you just want to send 3 values to a channel, here's how you do it. Now we're looking at my eFlight Commander 1.4 meter. This is a great little electric, well, it's not that little, it's a 1.4 meter electric sport aerobat. Flies like a dream. I got a TDR6 in it, so it doesn't really have a need. But what we're going to go do is we're going to go set up a flight mode as if that was a TD-SR6. Now I always fly in quick mode. I never use the knife edge and hover modes, so we're going to put a single 3 arbitrary values on the same channel. This is channel 14, as we normally would just assign a switch. I prefer to use a VAR mix because it allows me to match the switch positions to my desired modes rather than being fixed in the 3 positions that you want. So what we are going to do here, first off, is we need to add a mix. So right now you can see I've got a fairly simple setup. We've got it's really a 5-channel airplane, standard 4+ flaps. There's nothing fancy about here. I'm not even running dual ailerons or dual flaps. It's still because there's Y cables buried in the wings on this. But let's go and add a FreeMix, and we're going to add it in the last position. And we're just going to go and we're going to call this stab mode because that's how I always call it, so I don't get mixed up with flight modes on the radio. And we're going to set the source to special and maximum. Now this is key. You've got maximum, minimum, and 0. 0 sets the source to, it's always 0. Maximum sets the source to 100, and minimum sets to -100. That's very useful if you're setting arbitrary values. Right now, the way we're doing it is we're going to use weights. So if our source is always 100, then our weight becomes the value. We're going to scroll down, and we're just going to set the output first, and then we'll go back and do the weights. So the output hasn't been set. We're setting this thing up as if it was a TD-SR6 instead of a TDR6. So we're going to pick channel 14. We're going to let it name it. And now you can see that we're getting +100 out there because we've got 100% weight, and we have maximum as the source. Finally, let's go in and edit this weight. And now you can see you can add a new weight. You can also, of course, set up the active conditions, so you can have multiple sets of weights that are triggered by per side triggers, for example. We'll get into that in a future video. But for this, we're just going to add another weight. So, in this case, I'm going to put it all the way down, and this is going to be -100. I'm doing this to kind of show off. Actually, sorry, we're going to set this one to 0. 0 on these receivers is your rate stabilization only. So we're going to set this up so all the way down is rate stabilization. And finally, all the way, set there, all the way up is going to be minus 100. And again, I'm going to set all the way down here, so now it's correct. So now we've got switches where the positions don't match what just assigning the position of the source is, but we're still getting valid stuff out of here. We've got a default, which is active when in the middle point of 100. If it's down, we get rate stabilization, and if it's all the way up, we get no stabilization. And here you go. You can see we've got a nice little chart that shows all our values, and you can have more than 3. I believe the limit is 9 different values per rate action. And it tells you the switch positions and what the default is, otherwise 100. So all the way up is minus 100. There we go. It's 100, and there it's 0. Just go down to C here. You can see it's 0 right now. The mixer's up. Channel 0, there it's 100, and there it's minus 100. And that's it. Easy as that. You can have, again, you can have multiple, you can have adjusters, you can use this, abuse it pretty much every way you could do the old VAR mixer. This really is just straight up, as configured, this is a VAR mixer. It does everything the VAR mixer did, with one exception. The VAR mixers did not behave well with other mixers on the same channel. This does, unless you pick lock. Because, remember, you have your operation. We used add here. If you want it to behave exactly like a VAR mixer, pick lock. That way, when this mix is active, it's the only thing touching the channel. And when it's not active, it doesn't do that. That's the way a VAR mixer worked. You couldn't really mix with a VAR mixer and other mixers on the same channel. You can with this solution, unless you pick lock, at which point you get exactly the same behavior as a VAR mixer. But if you go to add, multiply, and replace all work as they normally do with the rest of the mixer stack applied to that channel. And there you have it. How to use a FreeMixer to replace a VAR mixer and maintain every single piece of functionality you had in the VAR mixer. It's here now. And you've got the VARs, which are the Swiss Army chainsaw of values.